Good evening, everyone. Yet another market breakdown. We're gonna start with let's start with the news this week because today we had a bank holiday in the U.S. and given the fact that it's a bank holiday, we don't have any, we didn't have any movements whatsoever. So no movements today on Monday. Climate can't change tomorrow on GBP. CPI on GBP on Wednesday, which definitely is going to give us the movements on GBP pairs. FOMC meeting minutes, like this is not the real FOMC though, so don't be afraid. Thursday, unemployment claims, and Friday we have a lot of stuff. So definitely Friday is going to have some movements, which means that by Wednesday we can have positions. I mean, we can possibly position ourselves, have some trades on Thursday, maybe even tomorrow. I'm gonna see about the volume, and then we go from there. So let's start with the technicals. So I'm gonna start with Euro AUD. Now Euro AUD is definitely bearish. Like you can see the trend. You know, it's falling down. Break of structure, test. Break of structure, test. Break of structure, blah blah blah. Right. So I'm gonna start on the weekly time frame. So definitely still bearish. But this week. I don't like this week. We had a major rejection on the weekly time frame. We are in that fair value gap of the weekly time frame. We do have demand zone here. There's definitely still room to the downside, but we did not have any corrections whatsoever. So for several months. So we're gonna see more of that on the lower time frames, but currently I'm definitely bearish. Daily time frame. So Thursday and Friday we had a bullish push. Monday we opened bearish, pushing down. Okay, we tested the structure. You're gonna see that on lower time frames such as H4. So on H4 we had our latest supply area. As you can see, we had a supply area impulse movement to the downside that broke the structure. Small fair value gap. Price came back in. So Thursday, Friday, rejected everything that is got to be rejected there, and start pushing down on Monday. But it was very slow. So we do have fair value gap on the daily here. We have daily order block, daily demand level, which can be our possible target to have a last squeeze to the downside. Now, because price is at extreme low, you want to be very careful whether we're gonna have a lot of movement to the downside. So it's very possible that we can come to those lows, even surpass it, but I wouldn't bet on this so much. I would say maybe we cover this fair value gap, reject this demand level, then go from there. Because definitely we do want to see some of the corrections on the higher time frames, right? So I'm gonna do that. We have this level as an HF H4 OB and fair value gap inside of it. We rejected this area. To the D. H1. It's clearly seen on H1 as well. Beautiful. We have liquidity down there, as you can see, this week, and this week, which is basically a equal. So it's liquidity. A lot of people buying here, a lot of people buying there, right? So structure created today in the Asian, slow push down through the London, small correction in the new extension into the structure, into the fair value gap, and now slowly pushing down. So I'm gonna see, given the fact that this is the AUD, it's very much possible that we're gonna have movement in the Asian session. I'm not gonna have any positions right now. It's too late in the day. It's Monday. It's a US bank holiday, but I'm gonna see what will happen. Whether we push down, take out liquidity, reject this demand level on H4 as well on H1, cover fair value gap, create a setup there at this area, and go into the buys. And we can target those highs. So this high, this high, and this high. We can definitely target those highs from this area, which could be like 140 pips, which is not bad. It's not bad. Definitely not bad, right? 15-minute, yeah, massive order block on 15-minute, 30 minutes as well, confirming. Yeah, I mean it definitely looks nice. So like I said, I'm gonna wait for price to come to this region. First we need to reject this, create a setup, some sort of range, the structure, break of structure, correction, continuation, and then we have this highs to target. Okay, so this is going to be on my watch list tomorrow, and we're gonna go from there, right? But you have to remember, overall, we're still bearish, okay? So this will be like against the trend. Gold. Okay, so I already see the setup. Weekly. Let's start with the weekly. So last week bullish but indecisive. This week open up bearish. Overall, like structural wise, bullish obviously, but we want to focus on the current state, right? So it's very possible that we can cover 50% of this week on the weekly basis, but it's gonna take some time maybe, or a big push fundamentally that we can see the price there. Okay, daily. So Friday bearish closure, opening on Monday bearish. Bullish closure on Friday, opening on Monday is bearish. Bunch of liquidity above that point, but bearish open. So what we have here, okay, we had a massive fall down and then slowly pushing higher, okay, in the structure. So very much possible that I can be bearish now on the gold. We had a structure, we broke the structure, we made a correction on H4, rejected this area. I'm gonna show you on the H1 and 15 minute, and we slowly pushing down, but like it's not much of a volume, you know, like it's a bullshit price action here and then just boom. It's a bullshit, right? So I wasn't trading gold last week because what can you trade here? Nothing. Like you can scalp on 1 minute, yeah, sure, but like overall BS, right? Okay, fair value gap on H1, supply area covered to the T, rejected to the T. That was basically this Asian session, right? As you can see, Sunday 15th of February, opening, right? This is opening, pushing down, creating liquidity below. We had another supply area in H1, rejected in the London, slowly pushing down, very slow price action today, obviously because it's a bank holiday, right? Nothing new. Okay, so all of those weeks can be some sort of targets, but we have to see. Okay, we can mark those up as a target. H1, 30 minutes here wasn't covered to the D, as you can see. We rejected the bottom side, but we still have some room to the upside, especially because of those rejections here and here. So this is classic support. This is a classic support where price is currently. So from this point we can definitely push higher. So we want to be careful about for gold as well. I don't like to give you guys a setup or whatever, because I don't have any setup right now on the gold. I like to trade gold in the New York session, just to trade the session based on what London did and how the daily and H4 candles are looking at, and then I go from there, right? A day trade. So currently, overall, that's it, what I said on higher time frame. But more of that, I think we're gonna see tomorrow when we actually have some volume, I hope, right? Okay, let's move on. GU. Similar situation on GU, like, you know, we had a pretty much very good trades last 2 weeks, but current state on GU, the same, like it's a USD pair, right? Definitely some liquidity below this level on GU, but let's start with the weekly, in fact. So weekly bearish. Last week we had a bullish push, ugly rejection, and then we are pushing down as of this moment, right? Daily as well. It's very important because, like, if we want to continue down, you have to remember. So if you want to continue down, target lows or target highs, you want to break lows, right? In this case, if you want to target this low, you need to break the latest one. If we don't break the latest one, price is not going to come to this level. Same, like it's vice versa. If you want to target those highs, it has to break this high. Otherwise, no trade. So currently, no trade. We need to see a breakout, whether upside, downside, doesn't matter. Okay? Because as you can see, if I scale up, you're gonna see this is the high of the daily and this is the low of the daily. So we are currently in the range. So we are stuck. We are stuck between this support and this resistance. So yeah, we're stuck in between those two, and once we don't have any breakouts, well, it's hard to trade, right? It's hard to trade. Like, yeah, you can trade those, but overall it's range, so it's a gamble whether I can go into the buys here, this demand level, target as a liquidity opposing liquidity those highs, or I can wait for extreme high to be, you know, taken care of, reject there at the 36.95 or 36 or 37.00, and then go from there into the sells. Options, right? 15 minutes BS price action, so nothing to do that. Okay, so you want to be patient, you want to see more price action development, and then go from there. You would definitely want to see a breakout, whether below those lows or above these highs, to know the direction. Because, like, guys, if you don't have direction, you don't have a trade. Simple as that. You can have thousands of confluences, but no direction, gamble, and possible stop loss. So you don't want to expose yourself, you know, to the market if the market is not showing you anything to trade. So like for gold, I'm gonna wait for GBP USD as well to give us some more price action, right? But in this case, every AUD looks very good. I'm gonna focus on that in the first half of the week, I guess, to see where we can go. And that's kind of it. Trade safe, trade smart. See you. Bye bye.